everybody, and welcome to ESC. No, not the extraterrestrial Spanish companies that have been invading your homes and privacy. And, well, they have. It's true. Look it up. It's the Extreme Scrutiny Club, where every 2 weeks each of your hosts brings a robot to the table, and we vote as a collective on whether it should ascend to the arena or get put in the hole we keep in the corner and cover over the rug. And I'm only allowed to visit Detonator on weekends. So today we're talking about something that's completely out of my
Not even 2 minutes in.
Today we're talking about something that's completely out of my comfort zone. But before we get into that, allow us all to introduce ourselves. So, of course, I am your host, and for today, your referee, I am Reira of Team Nelly, and other such things.
As usual, I am Oliver, another one of the regular hosts.
I'm Orc or Mitch, whatever, both work, and I am the other regular host and our guest for today.
I am Mystrsyko, and I am a guest, and also I make silly videos.
Our second-time guest. You were on our Robo-Nerd special, and now we've put you behind a microphone instead of holding a phone in your general direction.
Yeah, probably because you're afraid I'm going to spill more soda on you guys again.
It fought back. It was always going to fight back. So, before we get so off topic that the episode ends up being about 7 hours long, as several others have been, shall we discuss the elephant in the room, or the mistake in the corner, as I like to call it? Shall we talk about Robotica?
You're just a bully.
That's harsh. I like Robotica.
It's good.
I do not.
Why?
So, it has the same problem with it that I have with all of the Chinese shows. It's so sparkly and fireworks and madness, and you feel that the robots kind of get overlooked to a degree. And the labyrinth? What in the fuck was the labyrinth?
The labyrinth was a good trial that Robot Wars should have had in series 1 and 2.
You're not wrong. I mean, Robotica was basically Robot Wars Series 1 and 2 if it was actually good to watch.
Exactly.
I can agree with that apart from the lack of Detonator, but...
No, Mike, your point still stands.
I will come down on you, Mr. Stapley, like the hammer of Thor.
Look, Detonator would get stuck in the sand. It would fall down the side of the bridge. It would lose to the rats, Reira.
You've got to remember, Reira, this is Robotica we're talking about. Thor is not a hammer, it's a flipper.
Hey.
Yeah, that was a wonderful one to witness. Why name your robot Thor if it doesn't have a hammer? But, sure, why name your robot Detonator if it doesn't explode? So, I mean, I just don't get it. But that's not what we're here to discuss. We're here to discuss some robots from that, and I believe you've all prepared a robot and some research. And if you're anything like Oliver, about 17,000 pages of notes, written carefully in sort of medieval script, as he would do.
What can I say? I come prepared.
I was going to say, Oliver, it's really weird to me, but it seems like you're not the evil one anymore. I think the Empress has let the evilness go to her head with all this Detonator talk.
Look.
Well, if Empress, the power goes to her head.
The Empress of tomorrow.
Anybody that thinks Robotica is bad is clearly evil.
Boo!
I don't understand.
God, we've all turned on you so quickly.
I'm used to it, don't worry.
Viva la revolution!
To be fair, when you're on a heavyweight team, so publicly lambasted as Nelly often is, you get used to it. It's okay, because BattleBots next year, we're gonna crush them all with our hammer. Yeah. Just
like Friends did to Detonator.
Oh.
Okay, I'm sorry.
So actually, before we start, Mike, I hear so of course I've acquired the rights to the DGS bots, and it means that I can build some BodgeBot Detonator and Napalms. Can you let the audience know what your first reaction to this was? What did you go and do?
I contacted Patrick Campbell and asked him if I could build a Beetleweight Frenzy so I could beat up your Beetleweight Detonator.
Now who's the evil one?
I support Mike fully.
Hey, we can't be mean to the guests.
No, exactly. Yeah.
No, we told Orkoff enough for that one in. I think it was the China Bots episode, wasn't it?
I didn't even do anything wrong. Hashtag Orc did nothing wrong.
Hashtag Tornado cheated. It did not. It did
Oh.
not. Let's not get into that hole.
No,
In
please
fact,
no.
let's get into a very different hole and about how, robots all looked the same and were all just weird four-wheel drive box wedges in this weird show. I mean, so you two approached me about doing a Robotica episode when we decided that having Mike on as a guest would be a great idea.
Wow.
And of course, I knew nothing about Robotica, but I just nodded and said yes. I wish I hadn't, but I at least can talk highly of some of the robots that I have seen.
Allow us to change your mind.
I can at least talk highly. And in fact, one of my favorite ones I've watched is one of the ones that someone has brought along today. And I will wait for that person to talk about their robot for me to reveal which one I really liked.
I think it's pretty obvious which one it's going to be.
It might be your one, Mike. With that in mind, did you want to go first?
Sure, I might as well.
Okay, so who have you brought to the table?
I have brought a robot with one of the best puns you could probably bring to a robot name on a television show. I've brought Tiger Wood.
Oh, yes.
I've put 3 minutes on the clock.
Yeah, see, I have brought Tiger Wood, which is, as the name might actually suggest, made out of wood.
Okay, your 3 minutes start now.
So, Tiger Wood was just in the 3rd season of Robotica, but it was in probably the single best episode it could have been in. And I say that because it was facing basically nothing but like saw weapons, which is what you would want for a robot that's made out of wood. But the builder of Tiger Wood, what's his name here? Errol Miller. Never heard of him. He was a carpenter by trade, and so when somebody said, let's build super high-tech robots, he thought, I know exactly how to do that. Let's build a cabinet with wheels. So Tiger Wood was 4-wheel drive. It had a little lifting spatula on the front. I think it was a spatula.
I hesitate to call it a spatula.
Yeah, it was tiny, and you couldn't see it with all the shadows in the show, and
It was an
didn't lift
appendage.
anything. And anyway, he built the robot completely out of oak, and he did that because, as he demonstrated quite clearly during a segment talking about the robot, metal will bend and deform and be permanently damaged in big impacts, but if you slap a piece of wood with a sledgehammer, it's totally fine. It doesn't care. And unfortunately, if you slap it with a 7,000 RPM spinning disc, it goes flying into the goddamn lights. The one thing that he didn't take into account is that when you hit wood with sharp things, it splits. And so one of the very few completely spectacular fights in Robotica's history was between Tiger Wood and a robot called Ultraviolence, and Tiger Wood got completely dismantled in seconds. Glorious, absolutely glorious. The best possible way for a robot like that to go out.
It genuinely is a beautiful fight to watch. I will now be opening it up to the other two. I believe that is your 3 minutes up.
Yeah, go for it.
Were you arguing to put it in the arena or in the pit, Mike?
I'm arguing for Tiger Wood to be in the arena because of the unique construction, the thinking outside of the box, doing things in a completely different way that nobody would have expected, and actually finding some degree of success.
It was wood, so outside of the crate would be more accurate. So
I was going to go for the same kind of pun, so...
it came out of the woodwork.
Oh,
I'm leaving. Don't worry.
go sit in your ref corner.
I will point out, interjecting a fact rather than an opinion, I am genuinely surprised. I have just discovered that Team Weachi were on Robotica. What?
Yes, they were.
Yes, they were. And of course, the robot was as over the top as it could have possibly been.
Because that's the only thing they build. Anyway, continuing on about wooden robots.
Robot Wars. Overdoser.
Oh.
No.
They clearly didn't watch Robotica.
No. Hey there, we're building in a heavyweight robot that's got to withstand thousands of kilojoules of force. Let's just slap some MDF on that. That'll do, right?
I think they just took the typical student approach and left everything to the last minute, and then suddenly, oh, crap, we've only got MDF left and no time to order more parts. Let's just throw something together and...
Hold up, did you just censor yourself? This is ESC. We don't fuck about on here.
Yeah, go fuck yourselves.
Wow.
Yeah.
Rude.
Too far.
No.
Okay.
How- Language.
No, I will not censor myself, are you? No, nonsense.
But having said that, I do kind of think that Tiger Woods was onto something. Thing is with Robotica is it's a very different competition to BattleBots, to Robot Wars, and it really shows, how the BattleBots arena is very suited to vertical spinners, the Robot Wars arena is very suited to flippers, and the Robotica arena is very suited to four-wheel drive wedges, as we discover, but also to lots of weird and out there designs. And when the combat is not so much of a consideration, then you don't really need a solidly constructed robot. You don't need something that's going to be particularly durable, apart from to sort of shocks and impacts of driving over the various bits of brick and tin can. So, yeah, I think if they were trying to save weight and put it into a more powerful drivetrain, for instance, then they might have been onto something.
I think, honestly, as well, like Tiger Woods, I rewatched the episode today because I thought, actually, I need to jog my memory. All I remember Tiger Wood for was, by God, he's been thrown off the bloody arena by ultraviolence, and the whole kind of Undertaker Mankind feel I got from that, which Mike graciously put in video format.
Oh
ages
God,
ago.
he's broken in half! Ultraviolence with the table, and of course overhaul with the steel chair.
But I was really kind of surprised because I forgot how well Tiger Wood did. Like Oliver said, yes, it's completely different because it's more about trials before the fight, and yes, in the fight, Tiger Wood got annihilated. But dare I say it, Tiger Wood performed much better and more decently than things like Brutus Maximus, Arachnia, Overdoser, all these wooden robots in the UK that, yes, were made to be in a fighting competition, and yes, it got blattered in the end anyway, but driving-wise and how it performed, yeah, Tiger Woods probably the best wooden robot, and that was years ago.
I mean, let's compare it to some of the other similar robots and their driving styles from that season. Logazai, for instance.
Oh no.
Off the edge.
So yeah, no, I think they did really well. I really like them. And yes, that pun.
I'm really proud that they went for a pun name rather than going for something, serious, because I feel like a wooden robot needs to sort of put itself in its place and know that it is going to be torn apart at some point. So why not lean into the comedy?
It can't be serious, it needs to go against the grain.
Oh, why?
I guess you could say with Tiger Wood, it definitely wasn't a swing and a miss.
Oh! I swear, if you complete the hat trick now, Mike, I'm just gonna.
Mike, do it.
Let me use thoughts and words.
That's what we like our guests to do sometimes. I don't think Gus used so much thought. I think he just sort of used words.
I mean, that's what I'm really good at. So
that and swearing, like watching your show is great.
So actually, while you guys were busy making puns, I was trying to look up what the robot that Tiger Wood defeated in the trials rounds in its episode of Robotica. It was a robot called the Tick, which fans of Robot Wars Extreme Warriors might recognize as the Termite.
Yes. Also, just as bad.
Yeah.
Because who puts their wheels at that angle?
Technically, Tiger Wood beat a Robot Wars robot.
Holy crap.
There you go.
My mind is blown. What has this world become?
I mean, I've got to give the Tick a bit of credit because, I do think it was a bit cool looking. Not the best robot in the world, and it didn't do very good.
It had a 3,000 RPM drum. That's pretty decent.
Come on, it was the one robot in the entire series, to my knowledge, to get flipped over by that arena floor flipper.
I mean, yes.
Which was fun to watch, actually.
Yeah.
It just kept getting stuck in things. Oh, I don't know. I feel Tiger Wood is definitely, we've got to give it credit as definitely probably one of the most successful wooden robots out there.
Absolutely.
And I feel that's almost arena worthy in my opinion. But
Yeah.
I'm just a referee.
Yeah, you're not allowed to have an opinion.
It was one of the most successful wooden robots, and it died a hero's death.
Damn right.
It did indeed. It died a hero's death to 1990s fucking Bite Force.
I mean,
When was Robotica? When was Robotica filmed?
That would have been 2001, I believe.
Oh, so I'm not far off by calling it 1990s Bite Force.
I mean, given that it had been Manta and what was the other one?
Critical Mass was the first
Critical
version
Mass
of
before it, yeah.
So I am correct. Good.
Yeah.
I am glad.
But don't say too much more about that because we're going to be talking about it very soon.
Oh, no.
Oh, oi!
Don't believe you.
Don't you mock me.
Me mocking you?
I don't know about you guys, but I think we should move on to the vote.
Yeah, I mean, Reira's supposed to be the ref here. She's supposed to be keeping us on track and stopping us from going off on tangents. And so far, we've gone off on loads of tangents, and we're not really sticking to the point here.
Yeah. Hey, audience. Hashtag justice for Orc. I want to see it in the comments, please. Thank
I'm
you.
going to have to count you out for a mobilization of 10, 9, 8, 3.
4, 7, 11, 5, 15. Fuck, I wish I could count.
I was going to say, is this not just my activation code? Reira. We don't want another Agent Reira appearance on the podcast.
No.
She stays in the corner. Okay, moving on to voting.
Thank you.
You've all got to put your money where your ballot slips are. I'm doing terribly.
Who's getting the money? Is somebody getting paid for this?
Yeah,
I mean,
I'd
that's how elections work over here.
Shit, Reira knows. She's behind it.
I mean, something
She is.
Ukraine in America at the moment. So
I was going to say.
my nationality is in big question.
Russian election scandals.
Oh God, can we not politics on ESC?
Right, tell you what, I'm going to vote first, and I am very easily going to say Tiger Wood deserves the arena. You know, one of the probably the best performing wooden robot in robotic history, and it put up a good performance. And yes, like I said, it got annihilated by ultraviolence, but what a way to go. Yeah, to the arena I say, yay!
That's a good call. Good call.
I am going to be contrarian. I'm going to say Tiger Wood deserves a place in the pit. Mainly because pits are usually full of fire and I want to see wooden robots burn.
Okay, Mitch. Deciding vote.
I was going to send it to the arena, because it's a wooden robot, and not many of them do very well, and it was actually quite a clever way of showing that, for the right application, materials that are often overlooked can be useful. But for that comment alone, let's send it down. We've got to send it to the pit. Watch it burn. I am changing my vote.
For the first time in ESC history, people, we have a vote being changed. I'm shocked.
Whoa! Stop the hold the presses. Wait. That's it. I quit.
Mike, we have an open spot on our regular ESC podcast. Would you be interested in joining us?
I don't seem to be doing much these days, so I would not turn it down.
Aren't you learning Dutch at the moment? Isn't that what you're doing?
No comment. Mainly because that was my attempt at Dutch.
Oranje boven.
I mean, most of the Dutch speak English anyway, so...
It's so true. I work in an international company and call Dutch clients quite often. Never has one not been able to speak English. Oh, we're veering away from Orc's vote, though.
I thought I gave my vote.
Did you?
I
He
did.
did.
Really?
This is
Yeah,
not.
he-
This is not my
he was the
day
first one.
today.
I'm clearly doing a terrible job.
I'm
of
having
letting
a
you do it.
really rough evening, guys.
Can I vote that I be the new referee for all time?
I get blasted for wanting to put crime in the arena and put a really unspirited defence for it, and now I just feel like I'm in a madhouse. I don't know where I am anymore. Who are you people?
I'm not sure myself. So hang on, is it a 3-0 loss?
No, it's not.
You voted for go. I think I'm still reeling from the fact that Oliver changed his vote.
I mean, it was a convincing argument. I was convinced. I was won over.
We've never done that before, though. Why is this now a thing?
Better late than never.
I suppose. Shall we move on to our next robot?
Yes, why not? And who are you thinking?
Since Mitch is in quite the state, I don't mind going next.
I'm excited to talk about your one. There's a lot of interesting info about your one, Oliver. So who have you brought along?
I have bought. I think there's only one way that you can say this robot, and that's in the Robot Wars announcer voice from the reboot. Daclaw.
Declaw Spinner. No, wait, hang on.
It's
no.
not a.
Yes, but any robot in the voice of the Robot Wars reboot guy is Spinner.
I mean, that's true, but crash works quite well.
Beowulf Spinner.
When and.
Give it time. Oh, so you've brought along Declaw.
I have brought along Declaw.
3 minutes are on the clock.
Okay,
Sorry,
I
the clock.
I am ready.
3 minutes are on the clock. Ready for you to talk about the claw. Go ahead.
Okay, so one of the reasons why I love Robotica so much is because, as we said, it's a completely different format. The sort of the obstacle courses and the sort of the sumo fight to the finish, and it just encourages so many weird and wacky and random designs to try and get around some of the problems. So you've got ones with maybe high ground clearance to try and straddle some of the blocks, or ones with low ground clearance like Armageddon that sucks itself to the floor so that try and make sure that nothing gets under it. There's not quite a good sort of meta or strategy for it all the time. Yeah, you've got the sort of your 4-wheel drive wedges that seem to do pretty well, but there's more than one way to win, is what I'm saying. And then we come to Declaw, which is Drillzilla amongst other things, with a big sort of Wowot type arm on it, and it's not a robot that you would see in any other competition except something like Robotica. I think so it's got the sort of the Drillzilla shuffling mechanism, which I believe they said could take it up to 30 mile an hour, which is just insane. Bearing in mind that I think the Danton Kia from the end of the Classic Wars could do like 20, and that's on
I believe
wheels.
it's 30.
20, 30. So if it's matching wheeled robots on a shuffling system, that's not pretty impressive. But not only that, is it just worked. Something about the way that it rocked around meant that it didn't get high centered. The sort of the feet were actually quite effective in getting through things like the sand pit, and it's just a unique design, and I think it really demonstrated that in the right context, in the right arena, in the right competition, again, there are these just out there designs that can work really well, and it's just so different, and I love it. That's really all I've got to say, to be honest.
You've still got like a minute and a half.
Well, I could throw in the fact that, again, it was against Logazai that we brought up earlier, and when a walker is being better driven than the meta, a 4-wheel drive wedge bot, then I mean, I'm not sure which robot that says more about, but
It also looks like a scutter.
That is very true.
Oh,
In our quest to add more Red Dwarf references to this podcast.
That's why I like it so much.
It looks like a scutter.
I've never saw that before, and now I see it, and I'm very happy you've made that point.
It just needs a little cowboy hat on top, and it's perfect. Okay, if you're passing it open,
I am, yes.
Mike, Mitch.
Oh man. So Oliver's main point seemed to be that, using the uniqueness of the Robotica format to come up with really creative and unusual ways of going about this, and that you could really only do in Robotica. And I wanted to point out that DeClaw competed in both Robot Wars and BattleBots and did abysmally bad at both of them.
Well, this is what I'm saying. It's something that's only going to do well in Robotica, and
Yes, and
I didn't really
that
get
is
to
my point. Is
you didn't get to use the arm and so much, and because it just removed it, and then the arm didn't really work very well. In
it entered
Robotica.
a show that ends in combat, and it was not capable of combat in any arena ever.
Aww.
I mean, the same could be said for Tiger Woods.
Nobody was talking about Tiger Woods. We never mentioned that.
Right, okay, yeah, sorry. I'm still kind of disorientated from 10 minutes or so ago. Right. So, Mike brings up a weird point, but I actually kind of disagree with it because I'm just reading my notes here. It was Dreadbot in BattleBots, but it was Drillzilla. Oh, for God's sake, Mitch, words. Drillzilla in Robot Wars Extreme Warriors. It also competed in the World Championship, where it got to the final, faced Reira. But I have to admit, I feel that DeClaw was very much a different approach to the whole shuffler mechanic kind of thing, and it was a different weapon. Also, you gotta love the way it lost. It literally got knocked out over the bloody wall in 4 seconds and wrapped around the spike.
I mean, to be fair, that was most of the fights of the finishes in Robotica, but it was memorable for how quick it was.
For a show that I've declared I don't like, I got to admit that fight was pretty fucking fun to watch because it was just over so quickly. You didn't quite know what to do. I'm used to sort of the drawn out, finals of BattleBots and Robot Wars past, and and even in the live scene, even like competing with Beetles myself, and fighting Antweights and going and doing stuff with Nelly on the live scene. I've never seen a fight end so quickly. It just, it's toppled over. That's it. It's done. Okay, cool. Clean it up. Give that robot a medal. Also, speaking of notes, it seems everyone's brought notes. I just have a detonator is trash. Which one of you wrote this for me?
I blame Gus. Yep.
No, it's a good call. So, Mike,
Yes.
you review these robots quite often,
Mhm.
and I'm sure you've seen every which way of Walker Robot. Compared to other Walker robots, what are your thoughts on DeClaw? Taking away its terrible performances.
Taking away the fact that it couldn't fight to save its life at all under any circumstances. As a walker, I'd have to say it's kind of one of those like sleazy black market kind of walkers because it claims to be a walker, but it's really a shuffler.
Ooh.
It's like one of those, and like the Claw in particular is one of those robots that you definitely don't want to meet in a dark alley because it's going to use that claw for something terrible.
Oh God.
Oh no.
Well,
So like if I had to compare it to other walkers, the other walkers are trying to do things correctly, the proper way, and DeClaw is the one that's doing like the seedy, underhanded dealing, trying to get fights fixed and such. That's what I think of it as a walker.
Here's the thing, though, is it's how much of that was down to just the way Robotica was. It's from that sort of early 2000s, late 90s era of TV where it's all sort of harsh and edgy, and like Robot Wars was originally supposed to be set in a post-apocalyptic future, and
What?
yeah.
What?
Where do you think all of that sort of rusted metal design aesthetic comes from like the early series?
I thought it was just an aesthetic.
I distinctly remember Jeremy Clarkson saying something about the nuclear apocalypse on every
Yeah.
episode.
No, he just mentioned the Falklands War episode, but he confused the two. Can we talk Robotica host for a moment as well?
Well, quickly, just to finish this
Go
point.
on. Of course, my apologies.
Yeah, it's just sort of that era again with the host of just slightly hyping everything up, slightly making everything a little bit cooler. And Robotica didn't really have anything else like this, so I feel like they could get away with calling it a walker, even though technically it's a shuffler. They didn't really have any sort of other shufflers to compare it against.
No, that's a very valid point. Can we talk Robotica host for a moment? The name
He's
escapes
insane
me.
and I love him so much.
So Ahmet Zappa.
He's like someone took Craig Charles, shaved him, and put him on a fuck ton of cocaine.
So that's probably not very far from the truth because he's Frank Zappa.
Oh.
Oh,
yes.
The name is not just a coincidence.
No, it is not. Ahmet Zappa is Frank Zappa's son, and that is why he is so bonkers out of his mind.
I mean, that explains so much. Also, you mentioned on your episode 1 of the Dutch Wars review, they basically just got Dutch version of him for that as well. It's just Dutch Ahmet Zappa.
He was entertaining at the very least. Even if it was cringy entertaining, it was very high energy, very entertaining.
I think it was the perfect fit for what that show was going for.
Yeah, no, I'll
Yes.
give you that. I will give you that. It definitely fit the vibe of the show.
And I think it helped not taking it so seriously. Just in general, we talked about robots having making fun of themselves a little bit, but the whole show just being a little bit out there, a bit wacky, and like an obstacle course and not a out and out serious competition.
Which is, I think, on the topic of hosts again, I think that's why I quite like Chris Kenny and Farouk so much for the modern series of BattleBots, because they're really trying to portray BattleBots as a sporting event. And having, these two famed sports commentators and essentially a ring announcer, you get that vibe, and it works really well. Like, the latest series of BattleBots has been fantastic, and them removing the cold opens, though it was a little sad, it worked. It really worked. They added little spices of humor every now and again, which worked a bit nicer.
Yeah.
And then you have Robotica, where they've just, before they put him on the show, they just go, here is a mound of white powder, stick your head in it, and then come record.
It turns out there was not actually any competition planned. They just had Ahmet Zappa shove his head into a pile of cocaine, and the show just happened as a result.
It's actually all just in his head. None of these robots.
It was all a dream the whole time.
Oh no, that sounds like one of those really bad English exam endings.
And then they woke up.
Okay, right. I do have one last point I want to make. And Mike, I'm going to need your help for this.
Uh-oh.
Oh my, I'm bad at helping things.
Okay, so Mike, you're the American here. You grew up with BattleBots and whatever. Was this season of Robotica after the Son of Waiachi controversy? Was it before?
If we're talking timelines, it was probably shortly after it.
Right.
At least in terms of air date. I know season 2 and 3 of Robotica were filmed simultaneously, which is why robots in season 2 and season 3 are a completely different set of robots.
What the fuck? Who does that?
The people who are expecting the show to get canceled right away, and so they want to get as many seasons out of it as possible.
I know you wanted one season, but we've filmed it, and you can have as many as you like. It's the same robots, yep, mostly the same fights. I don't know why this Robotica guy is from Yorkshire, but
Side note, why could they have done that for the reboot Robot Wars? Anyway, right, sorry. Going back. Okay, so was the claw similar to Son of Waiachi, apart from the fact that Son of Waiachi had the big fucking fuck off horizontal tri-bar of destruction in terms of walking, shuffling
Yeah, it was basically the same mechanism. It was a cam with multiple little bars that functioned as feet,
Right.
and they were all in a different part of the kind of stroke of the leg, if you will.
Yeah.
So that there was always one touching the ground at all times while it was walking, so it was not terribly unstable. And Son of Waiachi kind of did it in a slightly different way, but it was basically the same mechanism. Just save as much weight as possible so you could put the weight elsewhere.
What was that?
Reira?
Yes.
What is that?
I have no idea.
Oh god.
I think someone sent me a link and it's opened. Yes. Okay, I've tabbed back to Opera and I've got 3 tabs open. One of which is Facebook, and it's decided to autoplay some videos for me. Thanks, Facebook. You're the best.
Oh god, this episode. I swear to God. Right, sorry.
You are going to have a great time editing all this.
Oh no, this is going to stay in the edit or be like a post-credit scene.
I think I'm not just going to edit this episode and be like, look, you can have the fucking madness. Here, have it.
Here's the whole thing. We've not done pictures this episode. Here is a napkin with an artist's impression of the claw.
Okay, right. Music.
Should we get back to things
aside.
now that I've closed Facebook and it can't autoplay videos for me?
Okay, all that aside.
Oh, Christ.
Okay, so Son of Waiachi, I think like it was controversial, but despite that, I think Son of Waiachi has earned its status as a legendary robot and whatever. With the claw, it's interesting because the weapon it had, if you want to call it a weapon, was really unique and different. And yeah, I guess you could say it was bending the rules slightly, but it doesn't stop it from being really entertaining. And as much as I was going to see what Mike said and be like, will this swing my opinion? But it really kind of hasn't. I think I know which way I'm going to go for the claw.
I'm gonna throw something out because I thought you might go along the slightly different lines with that argument, but
Okay.
because the whole Son of Waiachi thing was about it being classed as a walker and getting the weight bonus, wasn't it?
I think
Yeah,
so.
Son of
Yeah.
Waiachi had a 50% weight advantage. So it's basically a super heavyweight in the heavyweight category.
Yeah. Well, see, I was thinking back to the episode earlier and thinking that it was a bit weird, and I might double check if this is the case. That the show states that the weight of the claw is 200 pounds.
Right.
And correct me if my maths is wrong, but Drillzilla is with this is Drillzilla Declaw without the claw
Declaw.
is 352 pounds.
Yes, that is correct.
Wait.
I feel like there was some twisting of the truth going on here.
So Declaw, as it was entered in Robotica, was the team's middleweight version of Drillzilla.
Ah, right.
And they put a big weapon arm on it to bring it up to the heavyweight category.
Okay,
I say
that makes
weapon
sense.
arm. They put a big Declaw on it.
Well, in that case, it's even more impressive that it did as well as it did against heavyweights.
I was about to say, I was like, it's the biggest plot twist in history.
I mean, a little less unsurprising that it just got booted out of the arena by Ultraviolet. But yeah, again, it kind of goes to show that it's more about functionality rather than about armor or weight or anything like that, at least in the earlier stages of Robotica.
It's true. One of the really unique things about Robotica was they had no minimum weight. And so there were literally robots that were lightweights that were like 50 pounds that were out competing the heavyweights in the Gauntlet and Labyrinth stages.
Shall we get a vote done then?
I think so. I think that'd be a good idea.
Right. Well, that's a you guys thing.
I mean, you're the ref. You're supposed to be sort of coordinating this kind of thing. You've really not been doing a very good job of this whole refing.
I don't get paid enough for this.
Okay.
In fact, ESC costs me money.
Oh God. Okay.
Oh.
Well, I think as it's my bot and I really enjoyed talking about it. I'm going to send it to the arena. Just get the obvious one out of the way.
Okay, so that's 1-0 up.
I think as far as stretching the limits of what you can do with technology and design and such, bringing a walking robot with ground clearance and a big robotic arm to a show about robotics, and that is like about as far from the meta as you could get. Yeah, I think Claw deserves a place in the arena in some form.
That's 2-0 up.
I thought you were going to do another bloody plot to say, right, that's it. Yeah, it's good and all, but I'm putting it in the pit. I was like, don't fucking do this to me again. I can't take it.
It's okay, because apparently you can just change your vote. So I'm sure Michael will cross in about next time and just say, hey, by the way, can I change my vote on Declaw?
I didn't technically change my vote. I said I was going to go with one thing, but I was actually going with...
You changed your vote, Oliver.
Okay, anyway. So it's going to be pretty simple. I think Declaw, probably the most unique robot that ever competed in Robotica, did really well, had a fantastic way to bow out, just like Tiger would. It's going straight to that arena.
Well, that's a 3-0 victory for basically a scutter from Red Dwarf.
Yay!
The only question left to answer is it a Bob or is it a Madge?
Oh, good call. Good question. So now that we've covered a cupboard on wheels and Red Dwarf's scutters, Mitchell, do you want to reveal the fact that you've actually brought 2001 Byte Force to the table?
Oh, wait, really? I didn't know I was doing that. Boy, who'd have mentioned that earlier?
Shock surprise!
Yes, indeed.
One might call this a hypershock. I'm awful.
Yes, indeed. I have brought to table Ultraviolent.
All right, you have exactly 60 and then 60 and then 60 of your fine Earth seconds on the clock.
I swear I'm going to break out some Ultraviolence in a second. Right, Ultraviolence was bloody terrifying, if I'm going to be very honest. Had a deadly weapon on the front, 6 wheels of carnage, and literally ran rampant throughout Robotica Season 3. It got past the gauntlet stage pretty easily. In the labyrinth, I think it was pretty much, if I remember correctly, the other robot didn't score any points or minimum. And Ultraviolence also ripped apart the rats, which, no, poor things, didn't deserve that. They were just absolutely battered, bloodied, ran away. And then, of course, the notorious fight we mentioned earlier, it blattered Tiger Wood and rammed it off the top of the arena. It's actually really interesting to know. I believe we've mentioned Manta on the podcast before, but I can't remember why or when.
We did mention it. I also can't remember why or when, but I have photographic memory that we did mention Manta.
I don't know why we mentioned Manta, but there's something telling me we've talked about Manta. And I think, I've not really got much else to say about Ultraviolence, but I just want to talk about Manta for a minute, because I think Manta was one of those really cool robots that I saw in Robot Wars Extreme and went, that's different. I've not seen that in Robot Wars before. This was back when I was a wee lad. Of course, we'd had Panic Attack, we'd had Chaos 2, Razor, Hypnodisc, and then got something else called Manta from America with this small spinning weapon, flat as fuck. And it's like, wow, that's really different. And it's got a cool Manta shape on the back. I really dig this. I don't remember it doing it too well in Extreme, but with such kind of caliber as Ultraviolence and Critical Mass and stuff, it's got fantastic potential, and it really showed it in Robotica. So I don't really have much else to say. I just think that it's a really cool design, and yeah, it can be very deadly. That's it. I've got nothing else.
Right, I want to jump in here immediately, and I want to chastise this team for spinning up their Death Hum blade in a car park while guys were just randomly stood around with no kind of protection whatsoever.
Serious talk ESC for a moment. Reira's going to have, as the only one on a heavyweight team, as far as I'm aware, Reira's going to have a quick chat to the ESC audience about how heavyweight robots are very dangerous and deadly. Stop hovering over them with your mobile to record your heavy fucking disc spinning to send a cool video to your friends because you're going to just die.
Yeah, I've seen a few people do that. It is pretty stupid.
There's a case, or I will not mention names, there's one that's come up recently, and it defies belief. It makes you feel sick to the stomach. When you work on heavyweight bots and you tinker on the insides and you see how madly dangerous they can be, even something like Nelly's hammer, don't fuck with these robots.
They are dangerous. I will admit I did forget about this, so yeah.
And we can chastise the team, but that's not what we're here to do. I'm going to go back into referee mode now.
It's okay, Reira. Have your drink.
Minor thing as well. Don't see this as me saying heavyweight robots are the only dangerous ones. I've seen what beetleweight robots can do. My new beetleweight is fucking terrifying. On paper, it's probably just going to kill me before I even take it to an event, even with me trying to be safe. So just don't fuck with robots.
Be
Safety
safe.
first. Safety first.
Mike, sounds like we've got an extra space to opening up on ESC in the next few weeks. Would you be interested in filling it?
Why are you so mean to me?
I wasn't expecting that, but that was evil.
Seriously, stay safe, kids. Now let's talk about Manta. Not Manta. We're not even here to talk about Manta. I need to go to sleep.
Who wants to say so? Because I've not really got much to say at this point.
So I was going to talk about when I was a kid, I remember being completely transfixed with two robots from Robotica. It was Season 2 champion Flexi Flyer and Ultraviolence, because I had never seen a robot that had a weapon made from just a single block of metal before, which is now completely standard to just mill out a weapon out of a single block of metal. But I'd never seen that before, and it weighed like 15 pounds, which at the time was a lot of weight for a weapon. And it was just eviscerating things. I think they said it spun at 7,000 RPM. It was just so freaking terrifying. I mean, in the labyrinth stage, not only did it take literally all of the points, it killed its opponent and both of the rats. It had a 300% kill rate in that labyrinth.
Okay, go in and kill the opponents. Okay, go in and kill everything that moves.
Yeah, absolutely terrifying, and kind of a shame we didn't get to see it compete more often on BattleBots or Robot Wars in its Manta guise.
I feel like Ultraviolence would have been the sort of the logical step up if it was going to go back to Robot Wars. You know, having the Shreemech and the sort of the hinged skirts. You know, because the Shreemech's kind of essential in the Robot Wars arena with the floor flipper and the amount of flippers that Robot Wars has.
Yeah. I'm just trying to work out which order it was, because the first season of Robotica with Critical Mass, and then it returned to the third series with Ultraviolence, and then to test Manta before the World Championship, the team entered it into BattleBots Season 3 under the name Critical Mass 2.
Yes. So it was Critical Mass 2, Manta, and I believe Ultraviolence came after Manta.
Ah.
Yeah, I do remember the show sort of making a point of saying, oh, yeah, there's been several iterations that have gone into this robot, and one of them is Manta, which is kind of a nice little nod. You know, not many shows sort of tend to do that interconnected kind of little nods to the robot community in general and what's been going on. So, yeah, it's just to see sort of Manta's shell in the episode was kind of fun.
Yeah. I think also, thinking about it that way, you know how... these days, of course, BattleBots is the main robotics show still going, and we get robots like Monsoon that go over, they do really well, and you got Death Roll representing Australia, and they do really well.
Death Norse.
No, we do not talk about Norse. It does terribly. It's not been doing very well for me. I think it would have been really cool to have Ultraviolence come over to Robot Wars back in the day, but then again, it might be a case of more no, it's too dangerous, I'm not going to let you run it, sorry.
Yeah, I could definitely see that happening given the state of the arena after something like Typhoon was there.
We've seen things like that happen, though. Do you not remember Mauler?
I just mentioned more.
Yeah, he did.
Gods. Yes, yes, you did.
Although, hang on. Side note, right? Okay. I found this interesting little tidbit. What? What?
I've messed up so much this episode.
Yeah, in another. Okay.
Okay,
Well-
so Reira needs caffeine. Oliver's dying.
I am dying.
We have 2 spaces open on the ESC podcast.
Mike, do you want one? Join me. Okay, serious point. So I found out this tidbit that there was meant to be an MTV pilot for Robot Wars,
Wait, what?
and it was the American robots in the Series 3 arena. But this is the thing, right? I'm going to find this out now, okay?
Yes, that's true. They actually filmed a heat for an American Nickelodeon, or no, they did a Nickelodeon special or something. They did an MTV special. Mauler won the MTV special that never actually got aired.
Yeah, Mauler was actually in the arena.
Hey. I like Mauler.
That's the thing. It's like, oh yes, we're not allowing Mauler in the arena. You're too dangerous. No, the MTV pilot, we'll have you. It's fine. It's like, wait, hang on a minute. What?
Wait a second. I think Frenzy came second in that.
It was Mauler versus Frenzy was the final, but it was only 4 robots. You had Mauler versus Spike, and then Frenzy versus Mangulator. But there was meant to be a few more robots, if I remember correctly. I think there was also meant to be Ramstein and Ghettobot, but I'm not too sure about that.
Ramstein.
Oh, and also
no.
Jolnir as well.
Also, while we're on the topic of just going down random tangents, it's clear that the Robotica wiki is not edited very often when the robot Kraken, the top of the article is not to be confused with the British robot from Robot Wars. No, that wasn't the one I was thinking of at all.
No. I also like how small some of the articles are. They made my job this evening quite difficult.
Oh, this reminds me of bloody roasted robots with the random articles. It's just like this robot.
It just encourages you to watch more Robotica, Reira.
Yeah.
No, please no.
Oh god. But yeah, I think honestly, Ultraviolence was just it was a true powerhouse and very frightening. A lot of potential. Got to the final where it lost to Jugabot. I mean, that's nothing to be ashamed of, in my opinion. And yeah, I think Ultraviolence deserves to go to the arena. Honestly, it was very, very frightening.
I think I quite like the fact that everything else I'd seen in Robotica whilst researching looked like season 1 through 4 of Robot.
Yeah.
I've gone, okay, it's time to look up Ultraviolence, and I'm like, holy shit, this thing wouldn't be like, this design wouldn't be amiss in modern BattleBots.
Yeah.
I mean, apparently Daisy Cutter's design isn't amiss in modern BattleBots, so that's not saying too much.
Daisy Cutter was a mistake. Daisy Cutter was a mistake. Fun fact about Daisy Cutter, had a drag racing turbo engine to suck them up closer to the floor, because apparently, they needed no ground clearance. Sure. Apparently, all it actually did was make so much noise that they had to hand out ear defenders to people.
Yeah.
Whenever it went into the test box, one of the members of the Daisy Cutter team would walk around with a gigantic sign and shout, "You need to pick up your ear defender," because it was so fucking loud.
So I was there and got to actually see it fight once, and it was genuinely the single loudest thing at BattleBots. Louder than the spinners running into each other.
God damn.
I was told before I got into heavyweights that heavyweights sound like car crashes. And they do. They really do. When you have Manta flipping an iron ore robot at you at high speed and it hits the Lexan. Oh, sorry, we don't use Lexan in the UK, whatever it is we use, I forget. But, oh my god, it sounds so loud, because these things are so heavy and so powerful and just made of metal. Gods, I can't imagine how much louder Daisy Cutter would have been.
It was also the same pitch as like an air raid siren.
Oh,
so
no.
it was also ear splitting on top of being loud.
Fun.
I bet you were happy when the fight was over.
Luckily, it's that particular fight. Its weapon only worked during the Twitch test.
Oh my god. Oh, never change. Battlebots never change. Speaking of, shall we condemn ultraviolence to its new fate?
Condemn?
Shall we ascend it up to join such robots as, I don't know, Growler, Saber X,
Reira,
Onslaught?
I've got a serious question to ask you.
What?
Are you drunk?
I'm not drunk, I'm just really tired. I'm not drunk, I'm really tired. I want to go to bed.
Well, let's wrap this up then.
I was gonna look for another tangent, but okay.
Please do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down for that.
As long as you can handle me not functioning whatsoever as an adult, this is
Oh god, what an episode.
Please send your applications to be on the ESC podcast too.
www.rarebrainstoppedfunctioning.net.
This reminds me of the bloody Top Gear episode where Hammond rolls over his van. It's like, oh, he could be dead. So, yes, if you do want to be a presenter on Top Gear, just write to us at www.iCanDriveBetterThanRichardHammond.co.uk. Oh.
So if you want to be a presenter on ESC, just write to us at www.icanbeabetterrefereethanRarer.co.uk.
Oh,
Oh,
it's
God.
fine. It's fine. The thing is, Mitch, that he's mean to me now, but the second we're both on year and Ariadne rips a hole so large in fucking crossbow that he has to repair it with spit and goodwill, then we'll have this conversation again. Then I will come and go, who's the good referee?
This makes me happy I don't have my own robot.
You wait until I get into our
Oh no. Oh no. This is a close your eyes and run like fuck moment.
the day Reira manages to work out how to install Robot Arena fucking MacBook.
You see, it's not even going to be RA2, is it? It's going to be the first time you meet, and it's just the Empress beats up or flattens him into his hat. It's like, there you go. Who's the bad referee now? Not you at all. I'm sorry. Don't hurt me anymore.
The other two here have both met me. I gave hugs. I can promise.
I can also say for certain that she could definitely squash you into a hat if she wanted to.
This is true. This is true.
I've chosen this time not to.
Oliver, I like how you're siding with here, but you're just as much in the doghouse as I am.
I know, but
Oliver's the only one who's really been that to me.
Oh, yeah, I'm safe. Right, sorry, Oliver. Reira, do you want my hat to squash me into? Yeah. Well, I'll give you a big hat.
Sure.
Fantastic. Great stuff. Sorry, Oliver.
Can we vote on whether Mini Bite Force is good or not?
Absolutely. Where are we?
Well, do you want to send it to the same place you sent the Martian Mastiff death roll?
I am going to send it to the place where Cassius Crane should have gone, you rotters. I am sending it to the arena because, my God, it is just an absolute powerhouse. It is frightening, and I love it so much. It's going to the arena.
One vote to save Ultraviolence from joining the pool party.
Yeah, I think I'm going to send Ultraviolence to the arena as well because it is the only thing from my childhood that I am still terrified of.
Going up there to join the Bolt from the Blue board game piece. Not the robot, just the board game piece, remember.
see, Ultraviolence isn't really the thing that gets me excited about Robotica. I like the wacky and weird designs, but I can't deny that it's just effective and really well designed, and it wins a lot. And the fight with Tiger Woods,
where it just tears at a fucking new asshole.
That alone deserves arena.
That is a 3-0 win, which means every robot tonight. No, it hasn't. I was about to say every robot team.
Yeah.
I'm so tired.
I think we were just so prepared for it to go to the arena. It's like, oh yeah, they've all went, wait, no, hang on a minute. Tiger Wood hasn't gone to the arena.
What a surprise that the wooden robot fucking failed to make it. So I think we can start winding down.
God, I was about to say, you're cutting it out a bit, Reira.
Am I actually cutting in and out?
Yeah, you
Oh.
were.
Oh, I'll redo it. Okay, I'll go from the recap. So, to recap, we've sent Declaw to the arena. We've sent Ultraviolence to the arena. And Tiger Woods, to no surprise of anyone, got sent where wooden bots should go, which is a hole in the ground with
I'm still
fire, probably.
disappointed.
Probably with fire. So that is all from us tonight at ESC. We want to thank Mystrsyko / Mike for being our guest.
Yes, thank you very much for having me here.
He
Yeah,
has been
thanks for
very
coming on,
helpful, and I'm sure if I get fired from this position, you'll hear him a lot more. And you can find us at all the normal places. So for me, you can find me at Reira the Tip on Instagram and on Facebook. And you can, of course, find me on Team Nelly, because someone thought it'd be a good idea to let me play heavy.
Was Vera also cutting in and out of it again for you guys?
Yes.
Really?
Just
the moment
Only
you
only
started
when you got
saying-
to the promo bit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really? Okay. So you can find me on Team. Are you doing it again?
You can't find her.
The moment you say team, it starts cutting out on you.
Maybe I shouldn't say the word team. So you can find me at Roll Initiative Robotics on Facebook and Instagram. You can find me at Reira the Bard on. And you can... What now? What's it doing now?
The first bit was great, and then when you went to Rare the Bard, it just cut out again.
I want to cry.
Oh.
Okay, let me tilt the mic around a little bit. See if,
Oh God, I'm crying of laughter. I
Is
can't
this-
take
is-
any more tonight.
is this any better?
Yes.
Give it a try.
Okay, you can find me at Team Roll Initiative on Instagram and Facebook. And you can find me on Facebook. I do stuff. And you can find me on Team Nelly, because for some reason people think it's a good idea for me to evaluate robots. And I'm also on Shuntposting and shit, because I do stuff. Yay. Did it work?
Yes.
Yes, it did.
Thanks, fuck!
Oh God. Okay. All right. Oh God, what a night. You can find me on YouTube and Twitch under the York Court, and you can find me on Instagram under Scribblock. It's my new Instagram art page. That's it from me. I've had enough. I'm going home.
Insta when?
It's up. Leave me alone.
You can find me on YouTube as Mystrsyko 2 and literally everywhere else as Mystrsyko without the 2 on the end of it, including Facebook and Instagram and Tumblr and DeviantArt and just any website you can find me on as Mystrsyko.
4chan.
Any website has some disturbing information.
Pornhub.
I can neither confirm nor deny that Rule 34 username.
Those Mr. Psycho nudes are back again.
Oh no.
All right, I'm wrapping things up from my end.
No.
ESC, we have a Facebook page. Go check us out. You'll get updates until when all the episodes are coming out, and potentially some behind the scenes stuff, depending on what's going on and how busy we are. But we try and update that as regularly as possible. It's really the best way to.
Sometimes there's behind the scenes stuff. There hasn't been much recently.
It's really just as often as we can. And I'm doing roboty stuff myself. Team Mott and Bailey. I've got an active, up and running beetle weight that will probably have fought at Edinburgh by the time this goes out. And I'm building an ant.
Also, I'm looking forward to tearing that beat.
And you cut out.
I'm looking forward to tearing your beetle apart. Ow. Ariadne when?
Come at me when you can properly use a microphone.
Look, I'll have you know that.
He will have you know.
You know what? Fuck it. I'm just going to end the episode here. Thank you so much, everyone, for watching.
You're stealing my job.
You keep cussing it out.
No, you.
Well, Reira, you weren't very good at your job. So thank you everyone for watching. Please subscribe to ESC and yeah, join us for more madness in future. Bye.
Bye.
I hate all of you.